Danny's present. Marvin's present. Do we have Mariano and do we have Guillermo?
Mike, let me.
We have a quorum. We have a quorum.
Yes.
Who is the board member you have? We have me, you, who is in the Zoom?
Regina and Alexander. We have a quorum.
Regina is here, Regina Goldstein.
Vice President.
Oh,
Do we have Mariano? Mariano's there? Okay.
Yes, sorry. I mean, I was in mute.
What about Guillermo? Guillermo's also there? Okay. All right. Perfect. So you've got a quorum of board members. Go ahead.
We have a quorum of board members. Tonight's meeting is strictly to approve and pass the budget. First, I'm going to ask, does any of the board members have any questions regarding the budget that we've all worked on and that you've all studied? Anybody have any questions? Let's start with.
If you don't mind, would it be possible, would it be okay to make a comment that the proof of notice, for purposes of the minutes, that the proof of notice affidavit will be attached to the minutes of the meeting?
Proof of notice will be attached to the minutes of the meeting.
And also, if we can, does anybody else have proxies that have not been submitted yet? Because we already have proxies that have been submitted for the votes. There is a unit owner that designated Warren as a proxy holder, so we're going to need that signature for that proxy to count. This is Ron, but this is the one, it was unit 2418. So we can count that. Go ahead, Marvin. What we'll do is we will then, I'll interrupt you so we can announce the votes on the partial funding of reserves, which is already tabulated.
Okay.
But we are pending the proxy we just received, as well as the signature on the proxy here on hand. All we need to do is sign it. We've already got that. We already have 24. Right? So this is not necessary. And we have this here. Yes. Yes, we'll announce, I will announce the numbers right now. Bear with me, please. We have 177 in favor of the partial funding, 4 against partial funding, so the partial funding passes. Okay, that includes the proxy we just received here. We'll have to add that.
we'll have to add this one.
To the list. And then we'll have to make a note that the sign for counts. Okay. And then do me a favor, just make sure that none of these people are here in person. Now, the rest of the meeting is yours, Marvin.
All right. Consideration and adoption of the budget by the board of directors. Do we have any questions from any board members regarding the budget? Want to start, Danny?
What is the ATM $500?
For the budget.
Yes.
I believe, so year to date, we only received $67 from the ATM rebate, and we feel it was substantial enough to budget for it separately.
Ian is looking things over. Does anybody that's in Zoom have questions? Regina? Regina?
Yes, hello?
Do you have any questions regarding the budget?
No, I don't. No, Regina does not have any questions.
All right, Danny?
Land income, why it's reduced by $2,000, the building is more occupied than before, how come it's reduced?
We only received about 14,000 year to date, so we felt like 18 was the better number. Right. Brought down, like I said, we're talking more actual selection.
Hello?
Yes, Regina. Alexandra, any questions?
No, I've already had my questions answered, but thank you.
Guillermo, any questions? Guillermo, can you hear us?
Jim, aside, on the board member side, the boxes,
Mariano, any questions regarding the budget?
No, that's mine.
all board members sign those boxes? All board members sign those,
These proxies, we're gonna need the signature of at least one board member.
I understand, one,
Just one board member.
Any
not
further?
as individual unit owner,
Huh?
not the individual unit owner?
No, because we have proxies and the proxies designate board members as a default proxy holder. With the exception of 20 units designated other individuals. One of those individuals was Mr. Warren, signed for that individual. So that left us with 19 units submitted proxies, the whole proxy holders on the person. As it relates to all other proxies, any of the board members are the default holders. So since we've got the board members here, the roster will be signed to reflect that as to those proxies, that one particular director has signed on behalf of those proxies. Okay?
If there's no further questions from the board, I will.
I like you to, for the community, read each item, before it's no item.
So I can go over the budget, I kind of, the way I kind of go over the categories of some of the major changes and why we went on. So just so that everybody's aware, we did have a workshop, with your manager, Marvin and Mariano, beforehand to go over every single line item. We looked to see what's been spent, what we think we're gonna spend next year, what can we reduce, what, what needs to increase. So your budget went up 8%, and it's basically made up of, in the general and administrative area, your legal fees. Okay, that went up by $31,000, and that's pretty much the whole category of general and administrative. We ended up going kind of get more detail on why the fees are going
No,
up.
just go over.
Okay.
There.
Insurance and consent, which is minor and also expected, the market, I'm not insurance agent because we do this with a lot of other clients, the market has increased significantly, just, based on all the claims and all the losses. So 20% is what we were estimating for most clients, given the timing of when we renew in March. We just moved to another 12 months, we went up to 3% instead. And then in the contract services, janitorial, security, trash, and delay are the ones that are significantly up. And we I think they're looking to add more people and more services to the building to have people, like janitorial staff here during the nighttime to make sure the building's clean, and we can give more insight onto those contracts and why that's going up. And for the utilities, the water went up by 42,000, and that's just based on usage, actual usage, we had to bump that up. And then in the maintenance section, the main components that increased were electrical repairs, elevator, fire equipment, plumbing, and we also added storm drain maintenance that hadn't been added before. Also, the road maintenance budget increased, therefore your share of that budget also increased by about $8,000. So that's kind of a big picture overview of the budget. We went into more detail on certain items. Does anybody have any questions from the audience?
Couple commented about, sorry, just about the increase in the minimum wage from effective on September. Have we commented on that?
Basically, there's a new rule that passed that calls for increase of minimum wage. It went up by $1.35 for 2021, and it's going to commence on September 1st. And thereafter, there's going to be an increase of $1 a year until a minimum of $15 per person. As a result of that increase, since we're contracting a housekeeping company, valet company, and security company, this is the main reason for the increases that you're seeing for the 2021-2022 budget. Now, the other component of increase for the housekeeping came from a lot of complaints by residents about the cleanliness of the building. We've actually operated understaffed here for quite some time. I cannot tell since when, at what point staff was cut. But we decided to add 2 additional housekeeping staff. We're going to be here in the evening hours. Normally they leave at 7 o'clock, and after 7 o'clock, there's still enough traffic between the 2 towers that generates a lot of debris and a little bit of mess in the common areas, in some of our common rooms, the gym. So that will be addressed with the additional 2 employees. So that's with reference to the minimum wage.
Okay, I guess this is a question from Mary Adams. Looking at the reserves, we have 3 statutory reserves, and we have the pool reserves, right? Okay, so we are looking into buildings. I understand, am I correct?
Possibly after the 40-year certification. Possibly after the 40-year certification. There's going to be repairs in the concrete in the facade, and after that, we need to be painted. And possibly also, if depending on what is going to be the cost of the certification, the special assessment, if needed, is going to include the painting.
Okay, I see. So painting probably will be done this year.
Painting, I don't think will be this year. We start to interview this week engineering regarding the 40-year restoration. Realistically, minimum 2 years. The moment we start to finish. Last thing is going to be wash the building and paint.
Right, okay, well, I didn't know that was going to be included in the 40-year, how we would set that up. Because I haven't heard anything about the 40-year as well, other than the fact that we're looking into it. So if we're organizing it in that regard, okay, then we're cool. Because if we were going to paint this year, it's backwards, the money's not there, so on and so forth. So you're going to plan on building that into a special assessment, the cost of that, because that's going to run somewhere around $800,000.
How much?
About $800,000.
800.
Yeah. it's expensive. So that's what I wanted to address this time, and then also the fact that, every year I keep bringing it up, our air conditioning issue is still there, it hasn't disappeared, as you know, last year I brought it up. It was brought up 2 years ago, to spend, I believe it was $300,000 to replace the air conditioning system that was diagnosed Tower 2, based on the condition and the way that it was running. We had a company come in and save us $70,000, $30,000 for this running for 2 years. We believe we could get it for 2 years, but we never added any funds into the reserves, which I brought up last year.
Remember.
That it's going to come to fruition in the near future where this thing is going to grab out.
And I agree with you 100%. The first meeting I was attending, here, it was, I think in March or February, whatever it is. Come to our attention, and I remember the meeting we had last year, nobody did anything. Nothing.
Nobody went.
Nobody from the last board or the management did anything with the cooling tower. The first vote we did over there at $60,000. Days later, it increased. This thing is going to finish, and it's going to finish any day. If I be on the board, I'm going to insist to have evaluation in this system. And if it's wrong, to spend any more money in this system. Because from my experience in this building and what I'm digging through, we're wasting more than we say. We're doing emergency patch up with no due diligence, and everything is in the last minute. And that's all. As long as I be on the board, we'll be all.
All right, so you want to go from reactive to proactive, that's just the way it should be.
Yes, I 100%, let me explain you something over it. And I want everybody to know.
Right, right.
We have right now 5 projects we earn.
Yeah.
And those 5 projects, under 5 managers, 4 different associations, and nobody, no left and right. Everybody blame each other. The amount of hours I'm spending over it to evaluate and to do, and it's harder on me than anybody else over it because I'm not good in English. This thing is a joke. You like it or you don't like it. It's a joke. That's the reality. It's a joke.
So you're talking about the maintenance.
I'm talking about everything on this building line. Everything to the point we came over here.
But specifically on AC units,
I'm sorry?
specifically on the AC units that I
Yeah,
believe
that's
was your
what I was
question.
bringing up, I wasn't bringing up the
Yeah.
entire program.
What was done on February is that it was ordered coils to replace the coils of the both AC units, the tower 1 and the tower 2. I don't know exactly where we are in the reception of the coils.
So I want to reverse for a second. When this board was elected, and it was pretty much at the same time that I became property manager. As an owner, I know the ACs were now working at full capacity in the hallways. We do have a problem with the air in the hallways, especially with Tower 2. Now it's starting to hit Tower 1 as it did Tower 2 for the last probably year. I don't know the reason for not ordering the coils or not moving forward with trying to remedy the situation. I don't know if it was a financial decision or if it was a professional decision to, instead of replacing the coils, maybe to try to see if we can budget for the replacement of the entire 2 AC units, which is pretty expensive. So I would think that that was not even an option. But this is one of the first things that the board did, and we had a board meeting. They went ahead and approved the replacement of the coils. Now, because of the structures of what we have here, and in order to save money, and Marvin can actually elaborate on that, as he was involved with the previous coils that were installed and ordered. It's very tricky and it's very costly. So in order for us to be able to save money, the coils, the structure of the coils is done in a way that they come in pieces, as opposed to one large unit, which will force us to go ahead and rent or pay for the rental of a crane, and that could have cost an arm and a leg. So the coils were ordered after the board meeting that we had, I believe it was in March, if I'm not mistaken. We were told it was going to take up to 2.5 months before these coils are ready. There was another delay on the manufacturer side, but the coils arrived either yesterday or 2 days ago, and they're supposed to be installed next week. It will take about 3 days in each tower to take care of it. Now, in addition to that, we have another issue in the hallways, but it's not really related to the coolness from the AC, but that will have to be adjusted after we replace the coils. But that's the status. Now, those coils and the compressors are supposed to give us anywhere between 2 to 3 years of life on that unit. So it may behoove us as an association to go ahead and start planning from a budget standpoint for the replacement of these 2 units in about 2 or 3 years.
Well, I would agree with that, because it was that I brought up, that's the performance dimensions of the issue. Okay? We had seals that showed its age, that were restored, at least to get us a couple extra years, so we could build up the reserves, and that was the whole thing. And I brought that up last year too.
I remember this.
Yeah.
But
So I just, so I, there's nothing you can do about it now, because your budget's set. And I mean, you can always revise the budget, I'm not suggesting that. I'm just, I'm raising the flag at this point saying, we can't make believe it doesn't exist. It does exist, it's gonna happen, and it's gonna be expensive, and not only be expensive, but that means there's gonna be a downtime with air conditioning if it happens to go on us. And that is going to be a lengthy period of time. So I just want to bring it again to the board's attention and everybody's attention that it needs to be addressed. Even if you get somebody to come in, okay, to review the conditions of what we have and make recommendations, even if we have to revise it somewhere down the line, or even consider it for next year, but there should be a category built in here because it is going to be a very costly.
Is this gonna be a meeting where we just are gonna be giving rights? Because I don't recall you doing a damn thing about it when you were on the board, or when you were the president. No, don't interrupt me, I didn't interrupt you. I want to take the opportunity to start complaining about all of it. And no one over me, you're not on the board. Everybody. Oh, I did a lot more than you did. You did was resign. Listen, I don't want to. You didn't do anything. You didn't fix it. You on the roof. You didn't fix anything. And now we have to deal with it. Oh, you know what? You are transforming responsibility on this board when you sat there like a rook and did nothing at all. Somebody that couldn't manage a dollhouse. I don't know where you get your opinion from. I get my opinion from the documents that I've had to spend money to get, which obviously you didn't read because I knew you remember what you.
Because you're not going to intimidate me, I'm going to answer you back. So if you want to.
And I'm going to answer you back. You didn't do anything when you want to board. So this is going to be a point section.
Yeah, right.
You know what?
Zero, zilch.
Well, listen, I don't know if you're going to be instead of hearing this nonsense from somebody who did nothing about it.
And what you do is intimidate, try to intimidate.
I would intimidate. When I said my rights, and you haven't schooled in this building for 7 years. 7 years you've been doing it. I was against the contract with Scott, and you were for it.
And you never realized.
In the interest, in the interest of other owners that have not had an opportunity to ask questions,
Can we just get on the budget instead of having a gripe session?
Well, we are on the budget, and his question started with a question about painting, and then it moved on to the cooling tower. So if we can continue, Mark, if you have anything else.
No, that's it, it was strictly about the budget and the reserves, but it should be.
Okay,
Does anybody else in the, in attendance have any questions regarding the, budget?
What's the payment project? This is,
Painting?
yeah, payment.
Well, painting will be completely repainted in the, building. We're gonna wait until after, all the work's done for completion of 40 years. It's a 40-year, recertification. It probably involve certain areas that will hopefully sound out, chip away.
Margaret, if I may interrupt. I believe you may have walked in after the question was asked. The painting is not included in this budget because it likely won't take place for at least another 2 years, right?
Yes.
yeah, but
In conjunction with the work that needs to take place related to the 40-year recertification.
let me tell you another thing. You're talking about the flood. I'm giving you now 4 more floods. And that's going to be affecting this budget in this reserve. One is the air condition, but we approved $50,000, now it's increased by over $20,000 already. We have alarm issue, start 3 or 4 years ago, not finished. It's about $50,000 to $70,000. And that's not in the budget, that's going to be this year from reserve. We have capital. I got the staff letter last week, and I don't know if we agree to it, but if we don't agree to it, it's $635,000. And me and Mariano went over. Besides, we have legal issues over there. I think we have double charge, some things on the contract and everything. We're going to find out what the case. We are over budget between $300,000 to $400,000. As soon we finish it there, we need money. So I'm telling you right now, is 50, I don't know how much we pay air conditioning so far. Assume we pay half of it, $25,000. So we have another $50,000, 50 to 70 on the alarm. And minimum $300,000 to $400,000 on capital. So it is half what we have reserved right now. I buy it today, it's done. And the only reserve we have for this year is $370,000. So now, in my opinion, we did a beautiful renovation over there. And I get a lot of complaints regarding our elevator. We have beautiful lobby, beautiful hallways. Nobody thought about the cabin. The minimum for the cabin, just to put the same mic in the things, is over there. So we have a lot of stuff unknown. So we have a lot of land for good. A lot of land.
Can I ask a question about the budget? Have we budgeted, because I know you mentioned that our legal costs have increased. We have several lawsuits that are pending and publicly available. Some of them are court litigation. Have we budgeted in this budget, because I didn't see it, for the potential damages we may have?
So we increased your legal budget by 30,000 for this fiscal year, and that was based on actual expenses. Give me a second, I can tell you what we spent so far.
That's in fees, no? That increase she's talking about is in fees, in legal fees.
In fees,
But
right, but I'm saying, I want to give you an idea of what you spent so far. So our budget for this 2020-2021 year was 40,000, and we've spent close to 60. Okay, so we we're conscious of the increase, didn't want to, we're already at 8%, just on the increases on the other items, so 30,000 was like everybody could agree off the legal, but we did have to raise that, and I'm not quite sure if we have numbers on what the specs left to pay. I don't know if you have an idea, but.
Yeah, it's a question about the budget. One question, if we lose any of those lawsuits, including from capital and some of the personal lawsuits, is that covered by insurance, or do we have to budget for that? Mr. Blanch, you know?
As I understand that with capital, that's a legal that has been filed. We are represented, we have insurance on the reservation of rights with regard to the cases filed against the association. The reason it's difficult to speculate on what damages are, first and foremost, is because we deny liability for all of those cases, and those cases are being defended, first and foremost. And secondly, there's no way we can delineate or define what those damages are going to be, assuming we even get to a judgment issue. And moreover, whether it's going to happen during this fiscal year. And lastly, those figures are not recurring operational figures that you would find in a budget. So in the event that there should be some type of either liquidated settlement amount or a judgment issue, then in my experience, it's typically done vis-a-vis a special assessment, assuming your insurance company doesn't even pick it up. So there are a lot of variables involved in the question that you asked. But I think that the most direct way to answer your question as to why it may not be included in the budget is because they're either not anticipated to be incurred this year, too speculative in nature to include it, and an isolated incident rather than an ongoing operational expense that should be included in the budget.
But the note that I saw that was filed by capital has a provision for accruing interest, and that interest has already been accruing. Do you know, if you know, did that note sign remarkable was how much interest has accrued already since the filing of the lien?
No, I'm not able to state at this time what has accrued, but I can also say that with regard to capital's claim, that there are also claims the association has against capital.
Have we filed a breach of contract?
We have not filed a breach of contract, but we are, and my litigation partners, Siegfried and Michael Clark, my construction law partners, are handling that aspect of the claim, and we'll be addressing those issues. And you also have Pisserino Lalonde, Sean Pisserino here, has done an evaluation of a lot of the issues that have occurred as a result of the work done by capital, including some change order works that they had initially provided, and as a result of that engagement, there was a reduction of the amount that capital claimed was going to cost in order to get that work done, in order to have the smoke doors approved. So there has been a lot of cooking taking place, behind the scene. We haven't filed our claim against them because this has been an ongoing discussion.
Regarding capital, I want to add something. We start work with one of the top lawyers in the country for construction. This is the Steven Siegfried. And me and Marvin and Udi had a discussion with him the last Thursday. One hope he gave me, he said, I hope it's not a legit link. If it's a legit, that's one thing he gave us. And he assigned us a lawyer to be specifically for this case, and he is working with Woody. And I think we have next week some time after we study all the case, some meeting, and I'm going to give him a lot of advice. I mean, I know in fact I can prove double job. Black and white.
I have a question that some of the residents have actually brought to my attention. For the residents who have actually closed the sale, based on the fact that we have an
This is
outstanding.
not the agenda right now, Mr. Warren.
Well, this was in reference to the question with the lead that we were just addressing.
Yeah, but we're discussing, the question Judge Vivian asked was directly related to the budget and whether or not we included figures in the budget for pending lawsuits and other contingencies related to lawsuits. The question you're asking, if I can get to it, is about how owners who have paid their share of the lien, to have the lien removed from their property, that doesn't have to do with the budget. So I'll let you finish your question, but I just want to make sure it's directly related to the budget.
Okay, well, I was waiting to see if your psychic powers were.
I can tell you.
Interpret in advance.
Okay.
So the question is in reference to that outstanding lien that we have.
But Mr. Warren,
Yes.
let me just, let's try as hard as possible to treat each other professionally. I don't need you to accuse me of pretending to have psychic powers. I respect you, and I would greatly appreciate if you can reciprocate that respect. That's it. That's all I'm asking for civility and our communications. Go ahead.
Okay, so, again, allow me to speak before any psychic powers actually cut me off. So in reference to that, that outstanding lien that we have there for the 600,000, with the, I understand that one of the questions that Judge Millian actually asked was in reference to the interest rate that we have, that interest rate is actually ongoing. So a few residents who have actually sold their units, and this is whether, something whether we can add it on as one addendum response, but considering that we have just responded to the question in reference to the outstanding lien, for those owners who have actually made a contribution towards that fund, is there an expected timeline as to when they will be receiving their refunds?
Okay, let me answer that question.
Let me answer that. Okay, 1 second, I want to, all I can tell you, Paul, right now, it's not on the agenda. We work in it, we do work in it. And I can promise you, the next meeting, I put it on the agenda.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Mr. Blind, thank you for your response. For the next item, I think that what Mr. Warren is asking is, if we come to a settlement, like you explained earlier, it's speculative, we have a budget for it. Are those owners that have already paid their portion of the lien, are they entitled to a refund? And is it our responsibility, and should we budget for that?
The board has already been in talks with my partners about how to treat those unit owner issues. So I can, without divulging the specific discussions, the board members are having those discussions with my partners. And to Danny's point, we're exploring options for those owners.
Okay, that answers my
And
question.
nobody going to pay double. Nobody going to be penalized, that's a promise.
I have a question. 2 questions. Could you please introduce yourself?
Yes.
I don't know.
I apologize. My name is Roberto Blanche, and I'm one of the lawyers that represents the association on general matters.
Okay, so you represent your firm, first of all, right?
Correct.
And then your firm is employed by us, right?
My firm
So
is,
you work for me.
I work
It
for.
doesn't look like.
It doesn't look like.
No, looks like you are the boss here.
Okay.
Is that what you project?
Okay,
it has nothing to do with the budget. Now with the budget. Anybody can tell me structural damages of the building somehow reflected in that budget, or are you hoping that when the inspection, that's all I hear, for your inspection, when that comes and you make us pay another $10,000 each special assessment, is that when the structural damages would be addressed to? And if you don't know what I'm talking about,
Any work that's going to be done according to what you're asking is going to be based on our 40-year recertification. And that's going to be determined by the engineers that evaluate all the aspects and all the categories that have to be done, which includes structural, includes water safety, electric, a couple other items. So right now, we're in the process of interviewing engineering firms, and then once that's completed, the board's going to choose a firm, and that firm is afterwards going to get started on the process of evaluating the building. So it's going to be several months until we are furnished with a report of, what we need to do, and estimated cost, and then it has to go out to contractors for bidding.
okay.
I do want to ask a question though, especially in light of where we stand.
I didn't finish it.
I understand, but you asked a question about structural damage, but you made a point.
Structural damages that I know of.
Precisely.
Not the engineers, some engineers one day will come 2 years from now, I don't care about this. 140 people died just 2 weeks ago because some idiot didn't know that, oh, we had structural damages. Surprise. A year and a half ago, I realized that I have a structural damage in my apartment, and I had a leak outside from the rain, and it flooded my apartment. And you had the same, by the way, at the same time. And I reported to the whoever is in charge, and nothing was done.
Okay,
Nothing.
okay, hold on. Okay.
What I wanted to say on the record and to Uli and to the board is that A, are you aware of what he is characterizing as structural damage? And if you are not aware of it, can you have a professional look into it to conclude the extent to which it is the type of damage that is risking the health, safety, and welfare and the structural integrity of the building? Because, I don't pretend to know what your qualifications are. You may be a very well-qualified engineer, so I don't know
I'm not.
what it is, but I'm just, in my experience, there are damages that could be serious structural damages, or there could be damages that are not serious structural damages, but I do believe that we need to look into it just to make sure if it is something that needs to be addressed on an emergency basis, or if it's something that can await the 40-year recertification.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay,
I rang the bell a year and a half ago, and nothing was done.
Okay, can I stop you for 1 second? Did you ring that bell in the last 4 or 5 months?
No.
Okay, please send me an email.
Okay.
Thank you.
now,
Yeah, with this, when there's some people working around the house and I guess Vanessa person, I'm like, oh, okay, when I'm going to do something with, it's a fault, actually it's a fault in
she
the
was
wall.
I apologize, please. I think the point regarding your claim for damages has been made and taken. It doesn't have to do with the budget, so I think Udi should act upon it, and maybe we can move on to issues related to the budget.
I just want to answer one.
Regarding the budget, is that going to be done one day, maybe?
Okay, you're talking about structural damages, window leaking and this. I came to the board, I told you 5 months ago. Last year, we spent $56,000 regarding some structure and some window leaking. And on the $56,000, it was $9,000 engineering report from Falcon. And I don't know if your unit was on the list.
It was.
It was there, I don't know if it's been done.
It was?
Yes.
Okay. Let me
I
tell
never saw anything done to the wall.
I don't know either. I'll tell you one thing. But let me tell all of you guys, and we start to talk about this. We have windows. Those windows are 40 years old. They are not all we can do. In my opinion, any repair we do into this window is not going to work. What they're doing is they're sealing the window between the stucco and the window, and those windows is finished. But that is all.
So that's what should be in the budget, I guess.
But hold on, I think you're addressing an individual unit repair issue that may be his responsibility or maybe the association, we don't know yet, because it hasn't been
Okay,
evaluated.
no, I just want
I
to.
don't believe a future project that is not yet budgeted for regarding window replacement or window fixes or window sealing or painting of the building is something that's on the budget, so I think we should.
This is something that will be brought up in the next board meeting.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with the budget right now. Can we please proceed with the meeting?
I don't know if you finished all your questions regarding the budget. Does any other owner have any questions regarding the budget?
If there's no other questions, we will call for a vote to approve the budget.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the budget.
I second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
How about, can we get the roll call from those on the phone? Regina?
Regina, can you hear us?
That's good. Stuff, and Guillermo also,
Guillermo, can you hear us?
and Alexander.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Christina, I vote to adopt the budget for 2021, 2022,
Okay, thank you.
as written.
Thank you. Guillermo, can you hear us?
Alexander? The four?
Alexander. So Regina voted in favor, Mariano Martin voted in favor. You can't get Guillermo.
He's there, but he's.
Yeah, but she left the meeting, she couldn't vote. Second, she's.
So how many we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, you have the votes to pass it, I just wanted to make sure we could properly document Guillermo's vote, it's still there, but apparently we can't hear it. All right,
Just don't say yes or no, say.
so it passes by the four, it passes by vote of the 4 board members that, Regina, Marvin, Danny, and Mariano. Okay,
And I'm making a motion now to adjourn the meeting.
Before you adjourn, let me just say one thing. For the owners that are here, I've made Rudy aware of a number of things since he came on board by email. And he's been very responsive. And some of them had to do with issues like you said, some had to do with debris. I think he's doing a great job, but he needs to know what the problem is. And I commend him because he's been very responsive. And even issues that did not affect me, issues on the property. So Rudy, I think you're doing a great job.
I also want to go over some of the payment options, okay, because July is the start of the fiscal year, July was still at the old rate. Okay, we did not send out coupons because of the timing of this meeting, so what's gonna happen is we're gonna order coupons from July to June for the new rate, okay? If you're somebody that already paid July at the old rate, we only need the difference, okay? Woody will be sending an email to everybody with instructions, but I just kind of want to go over it here. If you are signed up for EFT, so that means we're debiting your bank account for the amount, we will debit the difference with the August payment. Okay? And if you pay with bill pay service, that means you go onto your bank's website and you tell them to send us a check, we'll need to send a check for the difference and then update the amount for the new rate starting in August.
And we talk on the board member. And we all agree about it. I mean, talking normally, these months we wait.
Right, and there's no for July.
Sending all of this in writing to all the owners.
I'll
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'll go with them, I'll put them together.
No, maybe this month, let's put it on.
When-
I'll
when
send
you think we'll
them
get
a
the
letter with the coupons, well, I'm gonna order them tomorrow. Hopefully you get them by next week, and I'm gonna also send a letter, requesting a copy of that email with the coupons as well, so that everybody is here.
Thank you.
And if you have any questions, just call us customer service, okay? Do that. Yes, and you're gonna get to the special assessment as
So
well.
we can do that July, as soon as we can.
Right,
And then we'll have the August one, then continue.
right. If you haven't paid July yet, you're okay. Wait for the coupon, it's not gonna be a late fee. Okay, but if you have paid it at the old rate, we know some people have, then send in the difference. And then start paying the new amount and all
I'm
that.
just waiting for the new coupon.
That's fine.
No, they can.
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned at 6:57 PM.
A motion was made by Mark, but it was stopped. Is there a second to the?
I second.
Okay, second. All in favor?
Yes, yes, all in favor
Adjourned at 6:57.
to adjourn the meeting. Yes, thank you.
Guillermo is in favor.
Yes, Regina in favor to adjourn. Thank you.
Guillermo in favor.
I have a friend, Senator Wilson, who's also 5 years.
Qué mal se oye, qué bárbaro.